world building myself lately. I've never done this before. I've been playing New Vegas, and I kind of want to make a mod because such a wonderful game, and it's so well realized, and it falls up. I grew up with the Fallout 1 and Fallout 2 games. Checked them out in the library back when you could install a game from a disc in the library and not need the disc to play it.
Nice.
I forget if Fallouts were like that, but they were pretty great. Anyway, so the thing is, I don't know how to code, and I'd be learning everything from scratch. So I've settled on it not actually being a mod, but making it just like one of those text-based adventures set in the same
fan fiction. I think it's
basically called. Basically, yeah. That's the thing. It's basically fan fiction. How are we gonna adapt all this the combat skills? Because I've always been the Diplo sniper non-combat character, always the righteous good, and I know that's boring for some people. It's not what people want in the role playing, but New Vegas is so elegantly designed. I don't know how much time you spent with it. But it's
I got done with a playthrough just a couple months ago. So
yeah.
I think I tried to lean into the I'm a neutral character, but still I did the stealth sniper and tried to do good, but really only Novak reaped the rewards of that. So I think they were the only
good. So hang on. So were you? I guess it was more of a yes man then. You go yes man NCR.
Kind of. I did lean into Butthead's story and then did the typical thing with like a role-playing game where it's like I'll just save and do branches, and that sort of thing. So, I think I did largely help what's his nuts, Mr. House, towards the end. But then I did go back and I did the Yes Man, playthrough as well. And I don't think I was far enough along with either of the other. Like, I think it was more NCR because it's like I just think you're nuts if you want to side with the Legion,
Sure.
So people try to be like, oh yeah, but from the inside it doesn't look so bad. And I was like, he's crucifying people,
right. It's
pretty far across the moral line.
I think what they try to do is you get shot in the head by a fink. And you see a bunch of people get crucified. You're like, wow, I really like this NCR guys because they're not those, right?
Right.
And then ultimately, you're supposed to realize NCR actually is a little bit more corrupt, and that
the
Legion is somehow better than what the tribals in the Southwest had been doing, which just makes you worry about what have the tribals in the Southwest been doing,
right?
And just to anybody who hasn't played New Vegas, tribals does not mean Native Americans necessarily. It means just people who've gone feral or have very low tech societies, hunter gatherer societies.
Well,
they usually blend, and often they'll be using blended languages from like European languages, English, and other Mexican Spanish, just because those are the people who live in the area. So.
Yeah, I wish they would have either explained it or used a different terminology because it's like they even talk about how like the NCR are tribes, and Caesar's Legion uses that especially because that's their mission is to like unite the tribes.
Yeah, that's been established since at least Fallout 2, if not Fallout 1. That's
really?
the language. Yeah, calling them tribals because in Fallout 2, your protagonist is a tribal descended from the protagonist from Fallout 1.
That's cool.
I forget if there are tribals in Fallout 1. It's been so forever since I played those games. So you are that, and you're kind of going into this Northern California civilization in Fallout 2. And anyway, whatever. It's great. It's great.
You gonna watch the show then? Because season 2 is supposed to take place in Fallout in New Vegas. So.
Yeah, I did watch the first season. It was definitely one I had to watch by myself, though.
Yes, I've been trying to talk the wife into it, but that's about it. So
I get why Bloody Mess is an option sometimes, but in that show, there's no option but Bloody Mess. It's kind of a they really lean into it's sort of like how the Simpson movie was a blend of all the Simpson seasons, like all the humor styles and all the kind of jokes they've made. I feel like the Fallout TV show is kind of like it had some bits that were like the Interplay, Black Isle, Obsidian Fallouts, and it has a lot of the Bethesda aesthetic and kind of approach to storytelling. And so it's it's kind of like the arithmetic mean of all the Fallout games, which means
Sure.
it's got its moments.
Right.
It's kind of got some dumb stuff too.
Sure.
That's
Like
right.
Fallout. So gotta say it though. Like I love the games and I love the world, but
I don't
yeah,
know,
I
man.
mean, it's not always a hit. So
Yeah, I think the silly stuff in the first game was always like Easter eggs.
mhm.
It's like Monty Python references, or literally follow to you go to the Guardian, the Edge of Forever, in
Sure.
Star Trek. There's an encounter where you come across that, and you and
Right. Right.
it is more Easter eggy than it is like. Isn't it funny that we're all dressed like Minutemen, or like we're robots and want to pilot a ship and into I forget where they're going in Fallout 4. I mean, I still play the game, but well.
Sure. So
Whatever.
21, is that where we're starting?
Yeah, 21.
Yeah.
21.
Cowboy Bebop. 2 episodes and then the movie.
Boogie Woogie Feng Shui.
Yeah.
Oh, so we're skipping the Real Folk Blues then?
No.
Okay.
No, because
So
that
two
No, just
episodes
in
movie
that.
than the rest. Okay.
At some point I found in which order you're supposed to watch them. And so it's like episode 21, 22, movie, and then the rest of the episodes.
I did watch
Right.
the movie before I watched the episode, just because I had to buy it on Blu-ray anyway, and that was I was able to sneak that a little easier than stuff on Hulu. Yeah,
It
it's
doesn't exactly like
I don't think order
interrupt the
matters.
flow of watching the movie as long as you have
Yeah.
all of the characters essentially.
Yeah,
And so it's just
exactly.
before the ending section of episodes, I think.
Well,
basically.
is there something that clues you in that the movie for sure should slot there? Or
I think it's really just
No.
the foreshadowing of Spike's death. Like, and
okay.
that's pretty much it in the movie, where it fits kind of naturally as a lead into Real Folk Blues, just because he's going to die in those last 2 episodes. It's kind of those
spoilers, and also that's not for sure canon. So
I'm pretty sure it is.
Does it
look,
you can go look at the interviews with the director, and he very much disagrees with you. So
really,
yeah.
So is this like the D&D scenario you were talking about, where we're leaving it ambiguous and we don't know if he's dead or he stopped time?
Right.
Or if
He's just sleeping. In fact, that's one of the quotes. He's like, I think that the people that think that Spike's just sleeping are probably right. But I mean, I disagree with just that simplistic interpretation. But still, I mean, the man's words, right? So
he's sleeping the sleep of the angels.
Why does
right? No, it's like Batman college humor. If you guys have seen that sketch, my brother and I have been quoting it a lot lately. But it's like Batman hits somebody hard enough that would literally kill a person and be like, "No, he's just sleeping."
Oh yeah,
I
I watched that again for the first time like a year ago. It popped up somewhere.
I guess the dream angle in the movie really fits that. There's a lot of talk of dreams, isn't there? So maybe that does. I don't know. That's
well, and Julia says that to him, right? So I guess that makes sense. Because otherwise, I'm like, I mean, the movie is a really long episode, and there's not like I didn't catch any continuity things where it's like, hey, remember how we just saved Mars like last week? Like that doesn't crop up, which would have been like neat, or like, hey, there's a character that we met on that adventure or something, but none of that.
Well, the cowboy apparently is in the background at some point, and so it's just a fun little thing.
Yeah,
you can't even chart where they are in the solar system, because the astral gates make travel trivial between all the gates. So
well, it depends. You're pretty definitely on Mars in the movie, though.
That's true. Right? That's what I'm saying. So you're on Mars for episode 21. You're on Mars for the movie. Forget where you are for the others.
Mars at the end. They spend a lot of time on Mars. So
yeah,
sure.
Well,
there's a small interlude where they go to Earth for an episode or 2, and that's about it.
Right.
E-Earth. What is this world?
E-Earth.
Yeah.
A lot more Astral Gate. At least one last more Astral Gate mention. Astral Gate incident. The gate accident mentioned in episode 21. I think. Yeah. Okay. No, Boogie Woogie Feng Shui, right?
Yeah, I gotta admit, I remember this character, but I don't remember this episode. So
there's Meifa, and she's trying to do feng shui, some form of puzzle left to her by her father, and she's trying to do whatever with it, and eventually realizes that it has to track him down. But between feng shui and there's like directions, and then there's a stone in a cloud lion statue, and it's a piece of the moon. And then they go into an astral gate to the coordinates where it says it's supposed to go. And it turns out that they have to like shoot the stone, which is a piece of the moon, I guess, and it opens up some kind of a portal thing. And basically, her father got stuck in hyperspace, and this is their chance to say the last things they ever can to each other.
Yeah, they do a Doctor Who, and they burn up a sun to say goodbye. So
priority.
That's a reference I would get anyway. All right, no, yeah, but that's right. It was neat. It's little weird how he was able to set everything up, right? But touching at the end.
Yeah, so the father had one piece, and so she found the other piece, and that's why they were able to basically get to each other because they're twins and they'll call to each other. And so no matter where he ended up, I think the idea was she'd be able to find him, and he just happens to be in hyperspace.
One Piece is a different anime that we're not watching at the moment. Thank you very much.
True. Yeah.
There we go. Next week, all of One Piece.
No.
You could do the Netflix one. That would.
Hey, you know what? That's not too bad. Anyway.
No, it wasn't terrible, but still.
All right. But yeah, so it's an episode on fortune telling, and there's a lot of fortune telling in the show already. And Jet says no, thank you, fortune telling at the end.
Yeah, he says he's decidedly put off horoscopes.
Right. Has he in particular seen I remember there's the Native American, the Indian guy, showing up a couple times with Spike, right?
Mm-hmm.
But does it show Jet with fortune telling a lot?
No, Jet doesn't go to the fortune tellers often. Like Spike has relationships with the Native American guy, but like Jet only goes there once when he's trying to save Spike.
Sure.
It's kind of like taking Spike's leap of faith that way rather than engaging it within himself.
I guess that's a bit of character development. It's a selfish guy who didn't have time for his family. He wants to see his daughter one last time, try to reconcile. He's manipulating them with fortunes, and it puts Jet off's fortunes. So it's kind of just... It was nice. I guess the character was kind of weird and nice, but the Mayfa was kind of okay. I don't have much to say about this episode other than it's nice that it had a Jet-centric episode, but I wish that they did more with it.
I mean, I think that one-liner right there sums up my opinion of the show from a story perspective.
That's fair.
So
I came in expecting to love the show again, but it is very storyline, and it's so storyline that it's hard for me to kind of get into the vibe of the show and enjoy watching it.
The art is amazing. The music is amazing. The characters are pretty good. The world building's pretty great. And it's like we're watching slice of life of these bounty hunters just like do stupid shit sometimes, where it's like, I think one time in the 26 episodes, we see them actually collect on a bounty, including like the entire point of the movie is like, how could we put out the, solar system's largest bounty in history and still screw you out of it, even though you also saved an entire planet and possibly the entire solar system. But it's like, oh, but for some reason, this guy you needed to bring in alive. Otherwise, you're not going to get the money or whatever. And it's just like, whatever, guys.
This was always one of the, because I'm not watching this right now, but I had seen, or at least some of this way back in the day on, Toonami, back when this and Outlaw Star and all that kind of stuff was on. And I was never... there were some animes that were cool with me. I could watch Naruto and I could watch Bleach and I could watch things like this, but they never really hit me in the same ways. Like the only one of this kind of style and time that I really liked was Trigun.
Okay.
And I remember when around the time that I think Firefly was coming out or had come out, and the people who wanted to compare it to something were like, oh, well, it's kind of like, Cowboy Bebop, but live action. And I was like, oh, so I'm not going to watch it then. And that was the initial reason I never watched it.
Yeah. I mean, I got it the reverse, right? Like I was late coming into Firefly. Like I think the show was already canceled before I really gave it a shot. I got into it with the movie, but yeah, then people were like, "Oh, you should watch Cowboy Bebop because it's just like Firefly." And I'm like, "Oh, sweet." And it's like superficially like, like, "Oh, okay, like second cousins maybe, or sure, there's some kind of family resemblance, but
space western is a space. Sure, it's the same genre, but like the tone, the atmosphere, those things make significant changes to how you engage with the story and how you enjoy it. If you want specifically space western that's melancholy, you get Cowboy Bebop. If you get space western that's Whedonisms, that's what Firefly is.
Sure.
I think I can see with a coat of paint, and if you're not squinting hard, then I can see why people would make the comparison.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's just like say Dark City, Darkman, and like Dick Tracy. Those are, I mean, they're just the related. If you liked one, you'll like all three of them because they're darker, kind of noir, whatever. No, they're like superficially related. Like, it's just one of those things. Like, oh, you like spaceships and guns, like Star Wars and Star Trek. They're basically like, obviously, there's never been any arguments about which one's better because they're so similar.
I do think actually that the tone of Firefly, and I mostly I've ever seen the movie Serenity over and over because that was just phenomenal. Sure. Great movie. But I think the tone of the Firefly universe actually is a lot like Cowboy Bebop. Okay. I can see the comparison, but the difference for me is I don't know if it's superficial because I think the characters are all well realized. Differences, excuse me. I think the difference is that in Cowboy Bebop, there are so few characters that are like that. In Serenity, in Serenity and Firefly, it's very character dense, right? And Serenity in particular pays off the setup, whereas this show, what's the payoff for the setup? It's kind of a two-part downer where the main character might be sleeping, might be dead at the end. You don't really know. So it's. I do think that what makes Firefly work somewhat better is that there's so many more characters and they play off each other more in different ways. That the one-liners and the laugh lines and everything work really well to keep it more peppy, even if, like, the main character, he broke up with his prostitute girlfriend and he's a former rebel against the Empire, and they lost the war, and they're on this junker, and they're never doing well with the Scragglers. So I don't think it's superficial, but I do think because there's so many more characters playing in that sandbox, it feels a lot more lively. If that makes sense.
I mean, there's like three things now, that they have in common. Like you could definitely say the overall tone of Firefly Serenity's universe is kind of melancholy, right? The bad guys won. They never quite seem to get their payday, but it does seem to pay off, at least emotionally, which I just never really got that from Cowboy Bebop either. And like even some continuity between episodes in Firefly, where it's like they have a duel so that he can get a job to hustle cattle and smuggle cattle, but they actually complete the fucking job and presumably get paid, right? True. But zero times, like we saw it exactly one time in Cowboy Bebop that they got paid.
Yeah,
and even still, it was such a small payday that they couldn't afford beef. So because everything went in to fuel the ship and repair it and whatever. And so it's like, yes, there's some similarities there, but like, it's not quite that bad. So
I think that they were aiming for different things, but they used a lot of the same premises. And because there's really only one episode in Firefly, and I mentioned it already in the previous podcast, that there's only one episode of Firefly that feels like it could have been Cowboy Bebop, and that was almost one of the lighter episodes of Cowboy Bebop, where Spike's alone in a gunfight against rotten fast food. And the other side is like the most downer episode of Firefly, where Nathan Fillion, whatever his face is, but I forget his character's name.
Malcolm Reynolds.
Brown shirt.
So,
brown coat, not a brown shirt. Very different. But the
Captain Brown shirt.
There. Captain of the SS Firefly.
Dig up. Now's the time in which you need to dig up or install a ladder.
Malcolm Reynolds is alone and dying of lack of air on Firefly, right? And then he manages not to. So that's the lowest point of Firefly, and that's kind of the highest point of Cowboy Bebop, and that's kind of where they kiss. But really, one surpasses the other.
You have been writing some fan fiction, dude.
Oh wow! Oh my god!
I guarantee you, it's out there already.
But I think with Cowboy Bebop, part of the point is loneliness and that atmosphere of just being sad all the time. Whereas Firefly, it's making the best of it by filling your life with other stuff. And it doesn't pay off the sorrow as well, partially because it's a Joss Whedon thing, and it's Joss Whedon, right? He kind of is the quippy guy.
Sure. I don't recall any of the characters being all that broken up about things, So
Malcolm Reynolds is supposed to be, right?
No, I mean Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, Cowboy Bebop. Well,
so the girls left, and it's like, oh, thank God we can get back to being just two dudes, And then the love of his entire soul gets killed, and he's like, yeah, well, she's dead, so I can't help her now. That's what we get. So, but it's about the most upbeat he was that entire show. So
I think he really intended to die, no matter what he said to Faye, and so it was like the suffering was going to end, and that made him happier.
I do think Jet also. Like Jet hates the kid and hates the dog, and then they leave, and then he's sad. Right? So there's part of it.
The kids, the dogs, the girls, they're just like the pets that he didn't want, but then now he dotes over.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Like, how many gunfights did Jet go into with Ed on his shoulders? Be like, I don't want a child, and then it's like me and the child. So.
Right. If I get a dog, you're walking it. Later, Dad walks the dog, and it's happy.
Right. Yeah, I'm literally that meme. So.
So I think there's something to the kind of the downer tragedy of Cowboy Bebop, where it's more you get to feel sad without high stakes all the time. It's mostly just miserable.
Sure,
with a great soundtrack. Miserable with a great soundtrack. That's the Benjamin Baxter story. I'm gonna just dox myself. That's title of my autobiography. Miserable with a great soundtrack.
Nice.
Not really. Hashtag millennial humor. What's episode 22? Let's want to go
Cowboy Funk, where we finally get to meet the cowboy of Cowboy Bebop. So
even the samurai.
Yeah.
When do we get to meet the Bebop of Cowboy Bebop?
That's the ship they're on. So
they say they joke about him being a samurai instead at the very start of the episode, and then he gets to be.
Yeah, and I wanted to circle back too with the whole they're both Westerns comment about Firefly. Like, there's again very little Western here, in the same way that the Big Lebowski is not a Western. Like, give me a break. So, they're next.
It's a space Western.
It doesn't matter what they called it. It's got next to no Western themes in it. And
I saw there was a shot of them walking in the desert once.
I know, right? Was there a tumbleweed?
Probably.
Because that's apparently all it takes.
Well, does the dog hopping count as being a tumbleweed? Because that, I feel like.
Right. Yeah. Ed is the tumbleweed. Ed rolls in and out
she's got
of the
hair
room
for it, so.
Every episode. Therefore, Cowboy Bebop.
Everything's a space Western if you rationalize hard enough.
Yes. No, fine.
Or really just a Western.
Yeah.
Just apply it to zombie Western.
We'll have to have that fight before we start One Piece. So,
there is no.
Don't give them ideas.
Exactly what cowboy Western elements are in this. They call them cowboys because they're bounty hunters and because yeehaw and shit, but that doesn't make it a Western. So
One Piece is probably the only thing that we could get into that would compete with the wait time for the Dresden Files for the rest of our time doing this. So
shots fired.
What are you talking about? Oda does 3 chapters a month.
Yeah, it's been going on for 800
Hunter
years.
Hunter is the one you want to talk about if you're talking about long wait times.
No, it's
hiatus is what that one is, right? I don't know. It's I think well, it's not the One Piece podcast, but I think Oda pays off stuff soon enough, and lately it's a revelation after revelation tying things together. One Piece theorists are going crazy the last couple arcs. Hasn't been a bad arc since Wano, right?
I don't want to talk about it. So anyway.
The cowboy?
Yes.
Andy?
Yeah, the rich kid cosplaying as a bounty hunter, but specifically a cowboy bounty hunter, because later he cosplays as a samurai bounty hunter.
Yeah.
You know, but
he doesn't need the money, so he doesn't care if he doesn't get paid. He just he's doing it for the purpose, the prestige, and the bomber, Teddy Bomber, seems to be inspired by Ted Kaczynski, is kind of forgotten about in the fact that Andy the cowboy and Spike absolutely hate each other and they keep doing the same things and stepping on each other's toes. Like, oh, he did a code to the elevator and that was going to do a bomb, but I reset it. But I reset it. And if we both reset it, that means that it's still active.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite was thinking there, just reset it a third time, right? Like, you both have hacked it. How hard could this be at this point? But we had to have the dramatic, oh my God, did they just both die kissing in the elevator moment? So, but then they ran up the building, so that they could fight in the shambles of the building they didn't save. So, yeah, it's a comedy episode for sure.
Yes,
and
definitely so Faye that could have this like, oh, this guy reminds me of somebody. It's Spike, and then just getting more and more angry about how similar they were.
Yeah. We're absolutely nothing alike. He's got a cowboy hat. I don't have a cowboy hat. Later gets a cowboy hat. Damn it. So.
Yeah.
So it's just like the Dresden Files.
Kind of. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much.
And then somehow canonically the movie goes next. And at least because then we see Andy the cowboy in a background in his samurai suit. So perhaps that's why people slot it there. And the movie,
so it has to come after that episode and before the end, but
and as of like episode
other than that
23 24 we start like, oh, we lose Ed, and so have everybody in one place.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's another constraint. So
the movie Knocking on Heaven's Door, apparently was called, and it's a very long episode. It's an episode, but with more stuff in it. It has the same feel of everything.
Like, if you want to perfectly encapsulate the show and understand what it's like, and you like certain elements out of the TV series and whatever, then the movie is great, right? It's a great bit of Cowboy Bebop, right? But instead of having like 30 seconds of Spike walking around town trying to find stuff out, you have like entire 5 to 15 minute montages of him just like walking down the street talking to people, because that's how he bounty hunts, apparently. It's like, hey, old lady, do you know where I can find this guy who's about to blow up all of Mars? No? Well, do you know anything useful? That way. Yeah, well, obviously. I mean, there's no dialogue, so you got to fill it in. But it's like, it's just kind of funny that it's like Jet is like on the computer or hitting up old contacts, and Spike is like, I hit the streets, quite literally, to talk to every random person to see if they ran into anything weird,
And he finds somebody who forces him to buy a vase, and that vase turns out to have very important information.
Well, it has, one of the little modules in it. So
yeah.
But yeah,
it worked.
Yeah, and the whole like, hey, if you ever see this guy, give him this message for me. So, which is a fantastic scene. But but yeah, I mean, overall, it's really neat. But like it's basically like an oversized bounty. It's a $300 million bounty, which is like 5 or 6 times as big as like the next bounty we see in the show most of the time. Anyway, there might have been like 100 million somewhere or something, but so it's like you get them doing their things, you get shootouts and fighting. The bad guy is a match for Spike, and just the whole thing. It's like the whole season or the whole show in a movie.
Faye's the only one that has an idea of what the guy looks like, but then they have to try to find him. And so Ed does her hacker thing and tries to find him. Ein says it's this guy, but it says he's dead.
Right.
And why is that? Yeah. And then there's even a train fight.
Yes. That's true. That's a pretty fun one. So, and then we get this side chick character who's a total badass, and like it's like, I don't know. There's a lot of weird parallelism with like her and is it Vincent, and then like Spike and Julia and Vicious, where I was like, for sure they're not reusing the name, right? It's Vincent and Vicious, not it's not Vincent and Vincent, where I'm just like, these characters are like very similar, like in some ways. Like obviously the guy's motivation and what he's trying to accomplish and some other things are different, but it's like there are only two guys in the entire solar system that can fight Spike, and they're both start with a V, and even phonetically are pretty similar. I was like, come on, guys. But this guy's got dark hair and the other guy has white hair, so totally different. But
so they're twins,
right? And one guy fights with a gun instead of a sword, also important. So
yeah,
guns are just the cowboys are just the samurai of the West. It's on a holster, it's on your hip.
Yep, every samurai and cowboy movie that's ripped each other off, we know this. So yeah,
you want to talk about no lack of imagination.
The movie also takes place just leading up to Halloween because it's doing some form of biohack, a terrorist attack, and it's going to happen during the Halloween party that's taking over the entire city, and they have to go hunting jack-o'-lanterns.
I believe the answer is because Batman. So, I mean, they basically do that in like the Michael Keaton Batman movie, right? So, where it's like the big balloons and stuff, or I think it's the first one, right? That Joker had the gas in the balloons and stuff.
Yeah,
and then he uses.
But I think that was
to like
technically for New Year's or whatever. But
yeah, whatever.
Or maybe not. Actually, I don't remember if it was even a holiday related.
Again, superficially different. Like so.
I thought you were going to go with Batman the Long Halloween, which is a comic run that happened a couple of years ago.
Sure.
Couple years ago.
Listen, the 90s were 5 years ago. Remember?
I was going to say, like, is this one of those where it was like, that's just a couple of years ago? It's like, bro, that's been 15 years. So, yeah.
Well, that's more of a couple of years ago than most things I think about. So,
yeah.
I'll take that one.
There's the foreshadowing of Spike about to die. Oh, the whole Vincent thing is because he died on Titan, sort of. And ever since then, he's haunted by seeing the butterflies. I guess an important bit of this is the butterflies are symbols of death. They're psychopomps. They take the souls to the afterlife in Japan, something like that. So,
okay.
He's
kind of,
yes, he's
like,
seeing
movie, not so much
souls going, and he's kind of haunted by that. And he doesn't remember who he is or anything. And that being the angst between him and Elektra, the badass woman, of like. They seem to love each other, but they never had the chance to actually acknowledge it. And then he died and he's gotten hurt and she wants to save him. But he's going to kill people and that's a problem. But he saved her because she had the vaccine and that meant that she needed to die because they're trying to cover it up and that's why the crazy high bounty and all that.
Sure.
Yeah. And then, as... like Spike was near death or something. Are you seeing the butterflies and that kind of the question of like he's going to die? That's why he's seeing things on the edge of life.
Okay, but I mean, he saw the butterflies because he was infected.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, okay, maybe, but like he could have almost died a bunch of times in the show. So I'm just saying, like, tying this particular instance to foreshadowing his ending seems a little thin to me right now. But
well, Vincent sounds like Vicious, and so that's just as much of
that's more foreshadowing than the fact that he almost died, right? So like, I know, no, I mean it's stupid, right? But the entire movie, I was like, this is a different character, right? Like the physical design is different, but there's so many freaking similarities between him and Vicious. And then I was like, is Vicious even still alive? Did they resolve that? And then it's like the second to last episode. Oh, okay. Here we go. It's been 26 freaking episodes. We've seen this guy like 2 times, and now he comes back, you know. So, but yeah,
seen him a couple, but he's usually over doing something in a different section of Mars while they're doing shenanigans in other cities of Mars.
Right.
One side little thing, I did really like the fact in the movie they had to make it rain so that people would not go to the parade and die by the terrorist attack. And so you get to see the actual like weather machine of the city being held at gunpoint by Faye. Of like, you're going to make it rain and crash a party.
Right. And yet 0 people went home. So it's like they kind of wrote it into the movie that was like, also though, to make sure that we could slow down the nanomachines and spread the vaccine more better. You know, it's like, well, plan A failed, but it's a good thing we had B and C then. So, but it is kind of fun to see her like shoot up a, you know, weather station, because they're like, why are you here? What possible like ransom could you get out of us? I just want you to make it rain. So,
and this was before that term got co-opted. So
yes,
it was actual rain.
Although I think Faye is appropriate for both contexts.
See, they knew.
The next episode, the 23rd, it is another one of the kind of like interlude episodes. It doesn't have a whole lot of big plot things, but it's called Brain Scratch, and it's the cult. And it shows a bunch of the news of like people are joining this thing, and then there's accusations of people being forced into suicide. And then you see Faye like, if I don't have a body, I don't need to have any money. And then Spike has like, oh shit, we gotta go save her.
It's so funny because it's so perfectly in character for all of them, really. You know, it's like she got her hooks into this somehow, you know, and she really is. She's masquerading, right? She's trying to collect the bounty, you know.
Yes, but it is still so believable for her to say, if I don't have a body, I don't need money, and I'm free from this.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, it just hilarious. It's like, how did you become the face of this organization? You know, but. And then it's Lawnmower Man started a religion, so that's what it is. That's the plot. So.
I guess Lawnmower Man was so weird.
What's the plot of Lawnmower Man?
I mean, basically he's like an autistic guy or something like that gets stuck in
low functioning.
Right? So
person who's very strange gets some form of interactive computer and becomes a genius that then tries to kill people and escape into the internet with really, really bad graphics.
Well, yeah, it was like the 80s, man. That wasn't 90s. A few years ago. It was like 40 years ago, just for those keeping score at home. Like,
I think it was.
Some of you aren't that old.
You were like 40 years ago, so there.
Also true. Like almost literally. So, but yeah, I mean, and then it's like, you know, for some reason, somehow this kid who was like a mega hacker at 13, like was able to hack his medical machine and start a cult, like you do. So,
because he basically in a coma, but awake or something. Because the only access he has to any form of life is through machines, and so he made himself a fake body, and he wanted other people to do the same and experience life just as himself. And so cult and so suicide and yeah.
It's 92. So we're both right. Like that's
I said 92.
80s. So I was talking to him. I didn't hear you say 92 because you're exactly right if you said 92. So
no, the cutoff for the 80s is 1990.
Well, I mean, technically, yes.
No, it's very even in mentality, because my sister and brother are 1991 and 1992, and they don't count towards the 80s.
Very
different. Refuse to allow them.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, my brother was born in 89 and he barely counts. So
I was born in 89 and I barely count, but I still count.
Yeah. Anyway, so I mean, it's a fun little episode, but you know,
You get to
we've
see
seen this
Jet
one like 2
and
or 3 times.
Ed
So
pretend to be father and daughter to get into the hospital, and then
that is pretty fantastic. Like, because the whole time she's like, "Father, Poppy," just whatever, and just pawing at him. He's like, "Get off of me, child!" And then you see him cry. Make the security guard cry. So, yeah, that's good.
And they do technically arrest him, but they also just kind of leave him in his hospital bed. I don't know if they get paid for this.
They handcuffed him. He's basically in a coma.
Yeah.
At a minimum, he's quadriplegic, right?
Listen, you can't take any chances.
I was like, is that like licking him or something? Did they just call dibs for the bounty? Like, what is the point in that?
Yeah.
It was so funny. It was so odd for the moment that I was like, because normally they just see shit like that and they're like, well, fuck, that's whatever it is. And then they walk off, right? They did it with the Earth satellite. They did it with the chess grandmaster. And then they've got this guy. And it's like, nope, we're going to handcuff this guy.
Standard operating procedure, no expectations.
Kid. Right.
Or exceptions, rather.
I mean, if they tried to collect on this bounty and tell other people of like, yeah, it's this guy that's in a vegetative state. He's really the guy who's doing the cult. They don't look anything like it, but they're not going to get anywhere with this kind of description. Like, no one's going to believe them other than themselves.
Apparently, they don't have cyber forensics in this
Well,
universe.
they shut down the computer. So. Granted, Ed did that. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah,
they handcuffed him to the bed of the guy who can't
move. Yes.
So 24, hard luck woman. Jet and Spike are kind of forgotten about while Ed and Faye go off and have adventures that are not that pleasant.
Ed's adventure's fine, right? Ed gets to eat.
More fine.
Ed knows where the food's at, so
yes.
And Faye gets to find out her entire backstory that has exploded because, like, that's what happened 50 years ago. So,
she knows that somewhat, and so it's just she knows she's not going to get good answers, and she needs them anyway. But Ed says that she knows where it is from the video that they had of Faye's life. Ed says that she knows it, and so Faye takes Ed and says, "I'll give you something really nice, whatever it is that you want, if you take me there." And Ed directs her to the orphanage that she lived in for a little while because she just showed up one day, started eating there, and the nun was like, "Oh yes, you can stay here," and then she just disappeared like a stray cat.
Right. Which, just kind of tells you some things about, Ed's father that we meet this episode, and also the nun running the orphanage. Is like, children just wander in and out of your lives. That is not how children work, by the way. Like, if a child disappears, maybe you should think about that. So
yeah, and especially since they are on Earth, and Earth is not very safe with the whole meteor showers that happen every day, every other day, and they're not safe.
Yeah, it's like, maybe if you were like, oh shit, maybe they got smashed by a meteorite, then that's one thing. But
yeah, But the nun did have like basically a picture of Ed's father, and like, oh, I had this thing for you. It's in my drawer, and then Ed has to go find her father. But which is the thing that she asked them to do in the first place. Is like, I'll go with you, but you have to find my father. And then they've completely forgotten about for 20 episodes. Right. But there's a bounty on him.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't read the synopsis too, because it spoils this moment, which was great, which is like Ed puts, well, we find out later, Ed puts a $50 million bounty on her father, but it's a $50 bounty, which is still even like, where did Ed get $50? But, they just put a bunch of trailing zeros and the guys don't know how to read. And so they go track down Dad, and Ed could have also done this 20 episodes ago if she was worried about it. So
yeah, but she had some adventures first. But yeah, they do find him, Jet and Spike, and then they get into an argument of the guy is doing maps because they're making order from chaos. But they have to keep making the same maps over and over again because of the meteor showers, and so it's never ending. but they're going to make order from chaos that way.
Yes. And like, who's going to buy this map? Like, yeah.
Yeah. And this is the guy who forgot the existence of his child, forgot whether it was a son or daughter, basically forgot the name. Granted, Ed might have changed her name after, but she doesn't outright say to him at a point, it's like, you forgot about me. Why did you forget? Why did you leave me?
It's hard to tell because dude can't remember his partner / sidekick's name, and they say it 5 times a day at a minimum. So, so we can't tell if Ed was like renamed themselves, if Ed's name is really Francoise, or, like, so just to say that Ed's parent is just as weird as Ed is, so.
Yeah. But they sort of get paid. They get a lot of eggs. Ed's father says, like, thank you for taking care of my child. I've forgotten the identity of, but here's a lot of eggs. And so at the very least, they get to eat.
Right. Finally get some protein after all this time. And it's like 3 or 4 dozen eggs that they just sit down and jam out in one session. They do not, like, they originally served out for Ed and Faye, and then it was like, well, I guess they're not coming, so we're just going to eat all of their eggs too, so.
Yeah, with like no sides, no sauce. That's a lot of eggs to eat all at once.
That's true. Yeah, hard-boiled eggs pretty dry to eat that way. So
yeah, at least like some salt or something. Mm-hmm.
Right, definitely.
Yeah. And while Ed's having this revelation, Faye found someone from her childhood who is now an old grandmother and in a wheelchair and everything. And she was like, "Oh, you look just the same. I thought you were a ghost. Oh, right. They put you in cryosleep because of the accident. And don't you remember this?" And it's like, not really. But Faye finds where her house had been and draws out what her room had looked like and just
sleeps on the ground.
Yeah. She's very upset about that she found the thing, but that's what she was looking for. She has that awkward moment running into Spike and then says, "I'm sorry." He's confused. Why are you sorry? And but she comes back and Ed leaves a goodbye note in the only way she knows how, of like drawing a gigantic face on the Bebop of goodbye with a smiley face, and then leaves, but Ein goes with her. That makes sense.
Right. Ein followed her, and she tried to send Ein back, but Ein was like, screw that noise. I'm coming with you.
Yeah.
Presumably. It's a dog. I don't speak dog. So
Ed seems to speak dog, and that was okay.
Right. And then Ed gets back to Dad, who immediately abandons her again because another meteorite falls. Like, it's like, okay, well, I'm just gonna walk that way then. And that's the last time we see her alive.
Yeah. But it does seem as a narrative story, taking her out of the place where it's going to get extremely dangerous. She gets to go chase after her dad now, and she's okay with that. And now things are going to get really dark.
For the show or for Ed?
For the show. For everybody else. Okay. Yeah, for Real Folk Blues, Part 1 and 2, which is 25 and 26. Jet he survives. Mildly banged up. He survives. He's mostly just going to be very depressed. Same thing with Faye, really. But Ed was safe. But the whole Red Dragon crime syndicate, that plot line is now extremely important. There's a coup attempt. Vicious tries to kill the elders that look like gremlins, and it fails. And so now they capture Vicious and are trying to kill anyone who was once associated with him, including Julia and Spike. And so, yeah, things are blowing up on Mars. Faye, Spike, and Jet get attacked at a bar, but someone who is from the syndicate, who's Shin, who is the twin brother of Lynn, who had previously killed in one of the other episodes that Vicious was in, was trying to save Spike. He had apparently always been waiting for Spike to come back and take over the syndicate. I don't think that was ever going to happen, but he was hopeful.
Yeah, it's such a D&D character move too, where it's like, my brother, I will avenge you. Our name is 80% the same, and we look almost identical. And
Yeah.
yeah.
But he tells Spike that Julia is in Tharsis, so go find Julia. And I don't. Spike has a flashback to his last job with the Red Dragon. He told Julie he's going to leave the Syndicate. She says that they'll try to kill him, something. They want to run away and start a new life together, but she didn't show up. Faye runs into Julia, though she doesn't know who it is, on the highway, and they go on a drive. And Julia's like, where do I find bounty hunters? And Faye was like, well, if you have a job you need to do, something we could hook up, we could work together. It's like, no, I'm looking for a specific one. It doesn't say which one, and they just start driving, and then they introduce each other, like, Faye Valentine, it's a common name. Julia, it's a common name. Tell Spike I'll be at that one place. He'll know what I mean. And then Julia drives off, and Faye's like, how did you know I knew Spike?
Right.
How did she know? I don't know. Maybe Vicious told information. I don't know.
Yeah, because she's been keeping tabs on him, probably. This does underscore the fact that they just get in the car and drove off together, shooting at people, like multiple fatalities involved. And, Faye, apparently she can shoot out tires and then the car will flip. Very, very Hollywood style. So,
yeah, why not? And the Bebop gets attacked. Faye tells Spike the message. She said you'd know what that means. And it's like, well, I don't. It's like, her name was Julia. And then he's like, oh, okay.
Exactly
everything makes sense.
That means. Yeah. I was like, well, shit, you should have led with that.
Yes. Say the phrase, Julia said she would be at that one place, not that woman. Like, that is important information. And then you can get to see that Vicious is about to be executed because he was still alive for the coup attempt, and then he doesn't die, and then everybody else is dying, and Vicious' coup attempt is working, and he's going to take over, and he's still going to kill everybody who's involved with him, like Spike and Julia.
Well, because they were going to leave him. He was going to kill Julia in the first place. She was supposed to kill Spike.
Yes.
That's why she didn't meet up with him in the Wayback Machine.
And they meet at a graveyard where they were apparently going to meet and run away together. And she says that's why she didn't show up. It's because it had all been arranged and she needed to kill Spike. And she didn't.
And then she pulls the gun on Spike and they roll credits.
Yeah. It's nice and dramatic.
Yes.
So the final episode, there's the whole like, why didn't you show up? Because backstory, as we've talked about, and then Vicious threatens Shin, the twin brother of Lin, and was the target terminated? Don't follow in your brother's footsteps because I know you're not trustworthy. Big scary. Spike and Julia go to Annie's store for supplies. Annie was his foster mother. And so they go
okay, because like we get there, I'm like, I don't remember this woman. Like, so yeah.
Yeah, he grew up with her. Like, the first time we see her is one of the first real episodes of a plot is when Vicious had killed her friend and one of the other guys that was in the syndicate, and just like things are getting bad and go away. And everybody's basically telling Spike to run away and get to a safe place because this place isn't safe. Like, one of Jet's friends calls him and says, they're after you. You can't fight them. You literally just need to run away, and Spike refuses. But if Spike's not running away, Julia isn't either, and so they decide to fight it out, and they're shooting their way out of the store. And then Julia gets shot.
Yeah, and that was pretty disappointing. Like, just kind of classic for the show, right? Like they had the option to make things dramatic or, say something about the story and whatever, but instead it's like they're shooting at each other while they run, and Goon comes out of the doorway and takes a shot, and Spike shoots him in the face because Spike's a badass, and then Julia tips over, and it's like, fuck. She all but got randomly hit while they're trying to escape, and just dies. It's like, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, you don't get to have happy endings. Spike doesn't get to have happy endings.
Well, yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not even happy. It's just like you just got this emotional energy that like there is no payoff anywhere. Like you don't really get to grieve. You don't get any payoff. You don't get any elation. You just got it, which is probably the whole point of the final title card, right? So it was like you just gonna sit with these feelings. Fuck you guys. So and that's why I'm like, I started thinking about it as just like slice of life. It's like we're watching somebody's biography. Like this is just some shit that has happened. It does not impact history. It will not further a story. It's just bad things happened to people because that's the world we live in, at least their world. So,
yeah.
But yeah. But then Spike is like just about as chipper as he can be, So
it feels to me that he's kind of like resigned himself to his fate, and he might as well. And yeah, he goes back to the Bebop and he asks for food because he's starving, and he gets some food, and he seems to be okay with it.
It's terrible as always, though.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And Jet asks as he's leaving, like, is it for the girl? Well, Julia's dead, and there's nothing more I can do for her. So it's not for the sake of Julia. It really is kind of just he has to meet Vicious and stop him. It's not even, he doesn't care about the Syndicate. Not really. Maybe he cares about the fact that they keep hurting all of the people he cares about, but killing Vicious doesn't even stop the Syndicate from existing. It just means that, well, now they're going to have a different power struggle. He knows that. And Faye tries to get him to not go, like threatening to shoot him and everything. And he's like, I'm not going to die, he says, but I think he knows that he will. And so she shoots the Bebop instead. Jet should have been pissed off.
Pretty badass sequence with him breaking into the Syndicate headquarters, though, right? Like,
yeah.
So it'd be like, yes, this guy was basically Baba Yaga for the Syndicate. Kicks a grenade into a bunch of dudes, plants little explosives as they keep chasing him because they're idiots. And like after the first time, you'd think like don't chase him down the hallway or something, but shoots a bunch of dudes. Uses cover, just everything. Shin dies because, he got him into the elevator. So,
yeah. Yeah. And they get to the top of that top chamber wherever Vicious is. And Vicious says something of like, what did he say? I don't have it all, but basically like the only person who could kill you is me and vice versa. And so they have to kill each other and they go at it a little bit. And then Vicious has his foot on Spike's gun and Spike has the katana. And then they throw each other back to each other so that they can have a real final moment.
Right.
While there are like the basically goons of the Syndicate just watching.
Very samurai. So, yes.
Yeah. But Vicious dies. And then Spike limps down a little bit, does the finger guns at a guy, and then falls over dead, in my opinion.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of symbolism. There's a lot of stuff where I would say, they set it up potentially for Spike to be dead, right? And so I'm not saying necessarily that interpretation is wrong. It's just kind of funny that the director's also like, I left it ambiguous. And I'm like, then why did you put all that other stuff there, right? It's like the same thing with like Inception, right? Where it's like, oh no, it's totally ambiguous. It's just whatever you think. And we're like, then why did you leave all these additional clues? So
yeah,
like if you didn't have an interpretation, then why did you put in all this other stuff? Was it an accident? Like,
yeah, it's not the same thing of like Blade Runner. Was Deckard a replicant or not? That was much more ambiguous. People having actual arguments during the production of it. No, this seemed very kind of concluded. If the only person who can kill Spike is Vicious, and then now Vicious is dead, then what? Spike's doomed to immortality? Come on. You said the thing in the symbolism.
Spike did get the nanites and the vaccine in that one movie, like theoretically. So
yeah, I guess he does say that to Faye. Like he died a long time ago, and now he's just going to go catch up to it. But again, that just means that he's died.
Oh, okay, but then she was talking to a ghost. But yeah.
And then the ending title screen, I guess, says you're going to carry that weight, as you were referencing, if you're going to sit with these feelings, and it's not going to be easy. It's not the see you later, Space Cowboy. It's that no, you get to be depressed.
Right. Which is another thing, right? If Spike is alive, what weight? You know, like, oh, I'm so butthurt about Vicious, who was a pain in the ass like 3 times. So, you know, like Vicious was a badass, but he was otherwise inconsequential to the overall story, you know, until the end, basically. So,
yeah, he's important to Spike's backstory of like why he left, why he's doing whatever it is.
He starts
why
him
he
on
goes
his journey
crazy.
and he ends the journey, but you know, but yeah. But I'm just saying, like, their day to day, he didn't really impact it any, you know. So. Yeah, I don't know. It was good, but I think I maintain like the lack of like a story that I feel like I can sink my teeth into hurts it a lot, you know. And so I'm just like, yeah, I mean, it's good visually, fantastic, world building, love it, music, great, story, you know. So
yeah, it is more of the slice of life of you get to see them in different situations, the different cases essentially that they go through. It's episodic in that way.
Sure. And I mean, top notch for like homages and references and Easter eggs to other science fiction and band stuff, you know, songs or, you know, band references and stuff like that. But yeah, so it's just like, okay.
I do think that, I mean, I don't know if you caught the references in the movie, because we actually watched High Noon, if you remember, and that was totally in the movie, which is nice. I don't know, it's one of those character driven, atmosphere driven shows, and I just wish it held up better for me, because I love the soundtrack so much. But if I love the soundtrack so much, I can just listen to it while doing literally anything else.
Right.
And just it's mostly very low stakes. Although maybe that's one of the things I admire about it, in theory at least. It is very low stakes. It's not trying to be a save the world plot. It's Spike wants his girl, and then sometimes he's fighting fast food, and he fails at one of those things, and it's not the one that would be okay to fail at. So somber, I think, is the right word for this. Somber with a killer soundtrack.
Sure.
Yep.
Well, okay then.
Yeah, I mean, it was good.
Took us
it
forever.
does not me to love anime, and I'm gonna kick and scream just as much to the next thing. So you're welcome. You know?
Is the next thing going to be anime?
God, I hope not. But you know,
it doesn't have to be anime. It could be One Piece.
That's an anime in my book. I don't know what you're talking about. So
what?
I mean, you could read it as a manga, but
there we go. See, there we go. Let's read One Piece.
Definitely,
there's less filler.
So
if you read it,
well, yeah, that is the problem with One Piece. The filler is not episodes you can skip. Unfortunately, the filler is long pauses and repeated frames, which is just the worst. just the worst kind.
You're really selling watching this thing.
No, I don't want to watch it. I'd say
I watched a movie. I don't know if I told you guys that. Like we do movie night for the kids. So like Friday the little one gets to pick, and then Saturday the big kid gets to pick. And I forget which one it is, but it was like the dude, like he could make everything gold, and then he had a big floating gold ship. So I watched that movie. It was okay, you know. I'm just not sure I need like 600 episodes of it. So.
It's the movies. I will say the movies are better than anime movies usually are, and that is not saying very much. It's not the same. I don't.
There's some anime movies that are good, but when they're anime movies of an ongoing series, like those are giant hit and miss.
Sure. Or I suppose if they're anime movies that are adaptations of arcs that are not part of the show or something, like I guess was it Demon Hunter? Whatever that one was where it's with very stylish animation.
Do you mean Demon Slayer?
Demon Slayer, yeah. Aren't those movies basically just arcs that the show is skipping?
Yeah, they did movies that are just like they condense the arc down. It basically, when you take off the opening and ending music and you get only like 10, 20 minutes of something, and then you just shove that into a 2-hour movie, turns out it all works out the same.
Well, fair enough then. I never saw it. I just know it by reputation. Again, very stylish, but I don't know. I think One Piece has a lot going for it, but it's I guess at this point kind of a meme for me to say that.
Yes.
Just no way to get Justin to want to watch that in One Piece.
It's just, I mean, it's overwhelming, guys. Like, I mean, if I was like, hey, we should get into Star Trek, and there you got to watch 600 episodes that have come out over 40 or 50 years, you would lose your mind. You're like, yeah, no fucking way, you know. So, and you'd be right to, right? You know, like I can't. That's not a sell, you know. That's a life sentence. So, for some people's mind, you know. So, I mean, it's not quite the same, but it's like there's just so much content and whatever. And part of the problem too is like we're calling them arcs and that sort of thing, but it's like 26 episodes of Cowboy Bebop went where, you know, 24 or what? No, it was more than that. It was like 54 episodes, right? At least, you
60
know,
of FMA.
Yeah, at least that was a story, right?
Yeah.
You know, like
Sure.
that had a beginning, middle, and end. You know, certainly it starts in the middle, depending on your perspective and stuff like that. But like, are you going to sit there and tell me that One Piece has like conclusions in 600 episodes?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it does. That much I can say. The show does have
over 1,000 episodes. You might have a couple conclusions, but it's still over 1,000 episodes, and so as far as I understand, things are still growing rather than concluding.
Sure. Yeah, and good for that guy or whomever, because they are hopefully well taken care of. You know, they found their niche and they're doing their thing, and if they're enjoying it, they're making money. Fantastic. But I don't know if I'm getting on this ride. So like if you wanted to sell me that it's like, okay, well, we could do these like, you know, 50 episodes and it would teach you something key about the character, and you'd be able to like, you know, I don't know, take it to the bank somewhere, right? Like it's like I got a saga. It's called life. I got to get up every day and go to work. You know, I got no thanks. So I don't know. It's there's not been enough to really kind of sell me to even like start down the journey, let alone, you know, try to conclude it. You know, it's like, okay, we got pirates. They are at odds with other pirates and also sometimes the Marines, right? And you know, the movie had some Ocean's 11 vibes, which was kind of cool, you know, and I liked the cleverness of how this movie concluded, you know, and everything like that. But they get their magic powers from eating fruits,
but then they can't swim ever, and so kind of dangerous.
Fruits. Yeah, I mean, ironic. I guess like that's a thing. Why are they pirates instead of literally anything else? Like, are they on a water world? Or you know, do we find out something like that? Because it's supposed to be Earth, right? Because there is the moon, and dude is just chilling on the moon, and we don't know why that's a thing either. He's just up there. chilling on the moon. So obviously I'm almost 99% ignorant of this show, but like this is what I know about One Piece so far. And like it's so called One Piece because they're supposed to find the One Piece,
And they
which is the
haven't
main
yet.
MacGuffin. And are they even looking for it though? Like in 600 episodes, like how often has this come up that there's a
It's
One Piece?
always stated as their goal.
Sure, right. So yeah. So
I did not watch the
write
anime,
this, for example,
but
where it's like
I read
we
like
need to go
200
save
something
the kid.
chapters. Everything is like they're on their way to try to find the One Piece on the line, wherever that line is that they're trying to go to. Something it's there. They end up on an island. They have an arc on the island. They acquire another companion for the ship, and then they go back to on the line. And then they end up at another island, and there's an arc there. And then like that's. I mean, it was fine. It wasn't aggravating.
How far did you get?
I don't know, 200 something. They picked up the reindeer doctor.
Oh, okay. Well, see, here's what I figured. What I would sell people on One Piece with would be the first little story with the girl,
Nami,
right? And
Yeah,
you get to that point.
Is
You
there
get to
a dog or
Arlong
something?
Park.
'Cause
You get to Arlong Park. That I feel is what the heart of the show is, and it just adds layers and layers and layers beyond that on the meaning of unpacking a lot of what has happened already in the show. So it's kind of more of a spiral storytelling, I'd say, where it repeats a lot of the same themes and tropes again, but twists it a little bit, and it gets more and more complex as the story goes on, while also being a humor show or manga or whatever, with a lot of slapstick and stupidity that you're supposed to laugh at from the main characters. So it scratches a lot of itches for me just because it has a lot going on underneath the surface. But the heart of the show is that Nami crying, "Help me," and Luffy saying nothing in response and just going to do it. So that's. I actually I started skipping episodes when there were fight scenes in the show, which I know that's not a good sign. It doesn't sell the show, but I think for my money, it sells what I like about the show, which is the dialogue, the characters, the story, the plot, not the way it has filler. So I know the format of our podcast here is to watch stuff, but if we did a reading club and it was reading One Piece manga, it would go down real quick.
It would go by a lot faster. Yes.
Yeah, faster maybe. It was like you have a lot more faith in my reading speeds than I do.
There's not that many words when you're looking at pictures.
Yeah.
Then I got to look at the pictures too.
Okay, audiobook only? Is this how you demand to read something?
It's a weird thing. It's like one of my weaknesses as a nerd, ironically, is like, yes, I can't just sit down with like a 600-page book and finish it in an afternoon or something like that, right? And so it's like if this manga has so many chapters, like I got to tell you, I'm not going to buy them, so I'm going to be at the mercy of the library,
right? Exactly.
And
that is the problem, right? You want to get a subscription to whatever the thing is that would let you read it for free on the subscription service. It's not worth. I mean, it's very good, but it's. Yeah, that's the problem with getting the One Piece, which is why I'm so glad that the first season of the live action adaptation turned out relatively good.
Yeah, it's going to be an even harder sell. I don't
really.
I don't really like live action anime. Anything. I can't think of anything that actually turned out well, and anything that I had any exposure to is just like that's not touching it. Nope.
To be fair,
I heard
that
a
is
lot
what
of good
everyone
things about the live action One Piece. It's
that is
like
what
the
everyone
only
who says
one, but
exactly that it's the only live action anime to turn out good. Not the live action Cowboy Bebop, or I forget what some of these others that Netflix has been putting through. At least the first season has been good. It only gets you through what I would say is kind of the testing ground, the good stuff of the first part of the show. Where if it doesn't hook you by that point, then I wouldn't try to press you to watch it. Although I might still, glaze it, as the kids say.
They did Bleach, and they did Full Metal Alchemist. See that?
The Full Metal Alchemist, that was a Japanese production, though.
It's
Bleach
in
must have
anime.
been.
Are they not all Japanese productions? Is
right,
that not
there's a difference
implied?
between Netflix making a Death Note movie and someone in Japan making a Death Note movie.
Okay, well, regardless, that was not a qualifier until this moment. So, So yeah, it looks like Bleach, One Piece, Full Metal Alchemist, Yu Yu Hakusho, Rurouni Kenshin, Death Note, and Cowboy Bebop. I mean, there's probably others, but it starts to get a little fuzzy here. So, but yeah. Anyway, I mean, if those of which you got to go on, like I have not heard of 8 of these. I've heard of like 3 or 4 of them, and I mean, Death Note was pretty much panned, wasn't it? It was like, oh god, wasn't that supposed to be terrible?
As a live action, yes. I mean, the one good thing that they did, as far as I can tell, which I've never actually consumed anything of it, was casting Willem Dafoe as a Shinigami. Because he's got,
right?
Like that is the only good decision that they could have come up with. Because if you're gonna have Ryuk voiced by like, it fits. That's the only thing. Everything else seems to have been a terrible decision.
Gotcha.
As an anime, though, that was probably a pretty good one.
Have you seen the anime one of Death Note?
That's another one that I read, but going through the anime would I think it was very faithfully done, no filler.
Great. It was one of those great animes people recommend to get into anime. Make you a weeb. We'll make you a weeb whether you like it or not.
Yeah, I mean, conversationally maybe, but not fluently, so I think I'm gonna have to deal with it with my kids and whatnot, right? So it's like I don't mind having some idea and being able to have a conversation without it turning into me making fun of people for things that they like. But I think it's like there's some things I'm gonna like, and then there's just others where I'm like, I mean, certain stylistic things that I'm just never going to be able to get over, or other conventions and memes and stuff like that get used. Where I'm just
that's I guess the question of like, what is the thing that you would like out of an anime if we're going to continue this?
Well, yeah,
you like a plot, you like a
story
conclusion
matters. We're here to be entertained, right? So it's like the story kind of matters. I'm big old into world building. I like most of sci-fi, fantasy, and horror and stuff like that, right? There's some things, but it's like the problem is like it's easy to talk about in broad strokes what I like, and then we got to get in specifics and carve out the section of like the things that I don't like about anime. Like I'm not really interested in teenage heroes. I'm not really that age group, and even when I was that age group, like we had the Animorphs, right, or whatever, and it's like, yes, these 15-year-old kids with this alien magical power, they're going to save the planet. I don't need that kind of. Anyway, I don't need like child heroes or whatever, right? Like, yes, these kids that barely know anything about the planet and their superpowers. Some of the romance stuff could give a crap about. The chibi-esque style of stuff, and just the over the top like emotions at times. It could be a detraction. It's not necessarily something to keep me away, but like One Piece, you're talking about slapstick, not really interested in. It's like there's funny things, but I've tried to avoid slapstick for a real long time, even outside of anime. It's like it's got its time and its place, I guess, but yeah, try not to do stuff like that anyway. Like the dude's superpower is that he can stretch, he's made out of rubber, and he eats an absurd amount. Like, okay, fine, but I don't know, it's just kind of tough, I feel like, because just about anything that I've seen or heard of fits into one or more of those things. Not to mention it's just like a lot of animated stuff anyway. Like it's got to be pretty good animation, like, or a pretty good story for me to get too far into it, right? Like Arcane was great. I think everybody for the most part agrees on that, but like Arcane's story was fantastic as much as anything, right? Sure. There was a lot to like about Arcane. So the fact that it was animated was almost secondary. Another one, the DC animations get like rubber stamped almost because their story, in my opinion, is so good. You know, like obviously very old at this point, but like Justice League Unlimited, stuff like that, any of the related, the Batman animated series, even the Superman animated series, the story was much weaker, but you know, that sort of thing. Outside of that, it's like I watch cartoons with the kids, and I'm not trying to say it's like a kid's thing, but it's not how I like to necessarily consume my fiction, right? Like given the option, I prefer the more visceral stuff than, you know, than animation in general, right? You know, so we've had similar kinds of arguments about Dresden Files, right? I'd probably love the hell out of a Dresden Files animation if they do it right, if we did it right, but that doesn't mean that would be my first choice, you know. So, and then ironically though, like to balance that out and make everything a I can't think of the word right now, but a paradox of sorts. Like if it's been an animation, I don't want you to make a live action of it. You know, and so it's like,
yeah, no,
I don't
things belong in their
understand the whole,
medium
like,
for reasons.
Disney's like, oh, you know, let's make it live action. And unfortunately, the market is teaching them the exact wrong lesson, because it's like those movies make money hand over fist, and that's why they keep doing it. You know, and so it's like, yeah, it is. But like I know the Stitch, like the Lilo and Stitch specifically, like their opening weekend, they made more money than the entire animated run of that movie. And it's just absurd, you know, and it's like, well, that's why they keep doing them. So anyway, but.
Well, I have a suggestion as an anime that I have not even completed myself. I've talked to you about it before, though. It was The Big O. The people who animated Batman animated this.
Right.
It's some form of Batman with a robot girl and a Jaeger, and the world is bizarre. Everybody over the age of 40 had some form of like crazy amnesia. Nobody understands what happened before then, and so they have no idea like where the things came from. Voice actors in English is pretty good because it's still got Steve Bloom, the guy who did the voice of Spike, and he carries a lot. He's got a Batman Alfred character, and he's got the very stylistic Batman style car. It's neo-noir in that way. I've watched a few episodes of it. I need to watch more of it. So it's got some kind of plot going to it while also having the episodic investigations of things. I have no idea how they pan out.
I mean, if we really need to be on the spend, then I can look into it. Right now, I'm not sure where I'll be able to stream it, but you know, I can definitely take a look. So, I mean, big robots are fun too. Like that's one of the better parts about anime. Big robots, right? Nobody does
things
big
that
robots
are
like they
impossible.
do. So,
yeah,
but
it's very stylistic in the Batman noir. It was so pointed in that at one point. It's just like, it looks just like that Batman animated series, and I had to look it up. Like, yes, it is the same people who worked on it, at least animation wise, but with robots.
Batman animated is still a gold standard in my opinion. Like, you know, I got my kids all the way through that and through Batman Beyond just because they wanted to continue the story and everything like that. But you know, it's like even today, right? You know, it's it holds up really well, I feel like. So, but cool. Well, take it under advisement, see if I can find it somewhere. So, but yeah, maybe have a plan B or a plan A.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, we don't necessarily need to start in on it for 2 weeks from now, but it's a thing to kick around. This thing at least has the animation that you care about. It's completed, so it's got some kind of conclusion of whatever quality is unknown. It's not therefore just going off. It's the world building is intriguing, and I don't have any answers yet, so I can't say how well or done it is. I've got like maybe into like 10 episodes or something of it.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like there's a ton to it either. There's like 2 seasons and they came out
Yeah.
many years apart, like 4
Yeah.
years apart or something like that.
I think they had publishing issues, but it's done and completed. But like Death Note is interesting and you might find it very compelling. It might also be a bit too dark.
I need to go, otherwise I would start in on like, yes, I write your name in a notebook and a demon eats you. Like, you're gonna have to help me with the plot before I
it's more of
one,
a
so.
Death Note is a lot about the cat and mouse between two mostly people that are some form of geniuses that of like it's like Batman and Riddler kind of they're constantly outthinking each other.
Okay.
And so it's that kind of plotting and problem solving, and yeah, the gimme is that the Death Note notebook that you can do that, and the Shinigami a little bit. There's like 3 or 4 supernatural elements, and then everything else is, can superpowered cop catch superpowered serial killer?
Gotcha. I mean, I like clever writing, right? So if you'd say
It's
that
very
it's
clever.
that kind of clever, then then I could be
Granted,
down
it's
with
been a
that.
long time since I've read it. I was like 13 when I read it all the way through, so it's been a long time. But
I'm 13 and this is deep, so
it does stand alongside FMA as some of the best series, as the way that people rate things of completely different genres.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, I mean, Death Note's it's a good thing to try out a different kind of thing. But I don't know if there are people who are listening and they would like to give suggestions of whatever it is they want to inflict on us, I'll take
I
it.
think, unless I'm reading into it, it looks like Jonathan gave you a +1. So, because like these comments are just from a few minutes ago, and
Yeah,
there's
and if
a plot twist at the end and a love triangle subplot, like very exciting. So, I'm assuming this is for the big O. So,
I have no fucking clue. But I'm trying, does that
exactly,
fit
that's
for?
what he's saying.
You
haven't gotten to the good stuff yet. So, unfortunately, I do have to go though. So
yeah, all right. Ending.
We'll chat
Give
about
opinions.
them in our, in our Discord, and if you're there too, you'll be able to see and even participate. Perhaps make suggestions and tip the scales, maybe if you're into that sort of thing.
Yeah, you can also leave comments on YouTube. I do eventually look at all of those, and if they're interesting, I post them to Discord, and then people have reactions, and it's quite fun.
Reactions.